When I first picked up Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, I wasn't expecting much more than some old, dusty philosophy. But what I found instead was a voice that felt strangely familiar, like a friend reminding me to calm down, to stop worrying about things I can't control, and to focus on living with integrity. And the wildest part? These were the private thoughts of a Roman emperor written nearly 2,000 years ago. He never meant for anyone to read them. It was basically his personal diary. And yet, here we are, learning from the words he left behind for himself. What struck me immediately was how human Marcus sounds. You'd think a man ruling an empire would have it all figured out, but his pages are full of the same struggles we face. Frustration with other people, dealing with fear, the weight of responsibility, and the constant reminder that life is short. He tells himself over and over, don't waste time. He knew death could come at any moment, so every day was an opportunity to live with purpose. One of the lines that really hit me was his reminder that people will always act selfishly or rudely or unfairly, and that it's not our job to fix them. It's our job to control how we respond. And that feels so relevant today. We can't stop people from cutting us off in traffic or saying something cruel online or letting us down. But we can decide whether to let it poison our mood or whether to keep moving calmly. The whole philosophy in Meditations boils down to this. Focus only on what you can control. Everything else, whether it's other people's opinions, the weather, or the randomness of life, let it go. It sounds simple, but imagine how different life would feel if we actually practiced it. Think about all the hours we waste stressing about things we'll never be able to change. Marcus's voice cuts through that noise, telling us to keep our energy where it matters, our own choices, our own actions, our own attitude. Something else I loved is how he talks about success and ambition. Here's a man who had everything: wealth, power, armies at his command. But he constantly reminded himself not to get attached to those things. They could disappear in a blink. Instead, he urged himself to act justly, to be kind, to do his duty. And I couldn't help but think about how that message applies now. In a world that tells us to chase more money, more status, more recognition, Marcus reminds us that those things don't define us. What defines us is how we live, day by day, moment by moment. Of course, the book isn't always easy to read. It's not polished. It's not written to entertain. Sometimes it feels repetitive. But maybe that's the point. Marcus was reminding himself of the same lessons over and over because he needed those reminders daily. And honestly, so do we. What makes meditation special isn't that it's filled with fancy theories. It's that it feels practical. You don't have to be a philosopher to understand it. You just have to be a person trying to live a good life. If you're stressed, it tells you to breathe. If you're angry, it tells you to pause. If you're chasing the wrong things, it tells you to look inward. It's wisdom you can actually use. And maybe that's why this book has survived for centuries. Because deep down, we're still dealing with the same problems Marcus was. We still struggle with anger. We still chase after things that don't matter. We still forget how fragile life really is. And just like him, we need to be reminded. For me, the biggest takeaway was this. Peace doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling yourself. That's what Marcus wanted for himself, and that's what he's offering to us through these notes he never planned to share. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed, if you've ever let small frustrations ruin your day, if you've ever wondered how to stay calm when life feels chaotic, Meditations is worth your time. It's not just philosophy, it's a survival guide for the mind.